Maity Interiano in for Carolina Sarasa. Today, President Trump and First Lady Melania visiting the two cities devastated by this past weekend's mass shootings, Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas. First, let's go to Salvador Duran. He's standing by El Paso with the latest. The bill that Salvador was mentioning, it's estimated that President Trump still owes the city of El Paso $500,000 that was spent on security when he visited a couple of months ago. But in other news, with each day passing, we're learning new details about the victims of the anti-Latino mass shooting in El Paso. Here's Noel LaPlume with more on one survivor who says his life was shattered because he wasn't able to save his nephew. And earlier today, President Trump and First Lady Melania visited Ohio to offer their condolences and meet with first responders. Let's go live with Lorraine Cáceres, who's in Dayton with the latest. Good afternoon, Lorraine.
Good afternoon, Maity. The president was here for a few hours, as he was saying. He came to comfort a lot of the victims. He wanted to personally thank a lot of the first responders that came out here the night of the shooting and helped save lives, giving people the first help they needed to be able to stop the bleeding, help some of these victims breathe before they got to the hospital. He said he also wanted to take the time to congratulate police officers that were at the scene patrolling the streets when the shooting took place, saying that most of the damage was prevented because of these officers being here and being able to prevent the shooter from going inside the bar and having even more tragedy, more people die than has already happened. As this is all happening, I have to tell you that a lot of people came out here to the scene because this is a controversial visit. A lot of people came to support the president, and a lot of people came to reject his visit, saying he's not welcome here, that he is here just because it's his duty as president to come out here, but not because he's genuinely trying to comfort people, that if that was really his intention, he should have come here hours after the shooting, maybe on Monday, but on Wednesday, it's already too late. But people that defend the president were telling me that this is not the attitude that's going to reunify this country, that right now is under chaos, that he is our president, that he has earned the respect of a lot of people, and that he'll probably be our president for 4 more years. So we have to come to terms with the fact that he is our leader. So a lot of contention here as this all happens. But I want to tell you that we also are seeing a new video that has come to light in regards to this shooting that shows the shooter hours before this tragedy happened arriving at the scene with his girlfriend and also with another companion. At some point in the video, you can see him actually with another friend who police have already interrogated and said had nothing to do, had no idea this shooting was about to happen. Also, one of the employees at the bar was speaking publicly for the first time, just talking about the tragedy, how all of this has taken them by surprise, that they're happy that even though this tragedy has come to really strike this community, they were able to stop it before it became something bigger, because there were so many people inside that bar that night. This is a very popular area with bars and restaurants, and people come out here to have fun. So there was so many people here, and that's precisely the reason why there is the police officers patrolling the area. The FBI is looking into this shooter's past, saying he had violent tendencies. The police saying he had already expressed in the past a desire to commit a mass murder. So all of this is they're trying to figure out a motive, and the family of the shooter and one of the victims, the shooter's own sister, have come out to say a few words, saying that they're offering their condolences and their prayers for all of the victims, but also asking for privacy, as they also are grieving and trying to process everything that has happened. We had the opportunity to speak yesterday with a person that was inside that bar when the shots rang out. She spoke of the horror. She said that she immediately knew that it was not fireworks, that it was a shooting happening, and she was able to run, hide under a table, and try to keep safe. Let's listen to what she had to say.
A lot of
She went on to say that she really hopes that this shooting here in Dayton and also the shooting a day before in El Paso are the tragedies that finally achieve some change, that some changes to gun laws are made, some changes to mental health are made so that we can really prevent this from happening again, that she's happy to be alive and so grateful that she gets to see another day, but feels so bad that so many people had to lose their life in such a senseless way. That's all the information we have for now, so I'll toss it back to you, Maity.
Thank you, Lorraine, for that complete report and for being there since the beginning of the week. And as the president attempts to console the nation, we're learning more about the victims of this past weekend's deadly shootings. One of them is Nicholas Coomer. He was 25 years old and a graduate student in Pennsylvania. He was in Dayton for an internship at a cancer treatment center. We're joined by the center's executive director, Karen Wonders. So thank you, Karen, for joining us today. But first of all, the country remains on edge after these two mass shootings overnight. A scary moment in Times Square, hundreds running and hiding when they heard a loud bang, thinking it was an active shooter. But instead, it was a motorcycle that backfired. Rafael Rodriguez has more details. Even some Broadway shows went into lockdown after that scare in New York City. The cast of To Kill a Mockingbird reporting that some audience members went screaming from their theater just blocks away from Times Square. Meanwhile, around the country and in Washington, the gun control debate is intensifying. Even some Republican lawmakers that were previously opposed to gun limits are now backing them. This as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell faces pressure to take quick action on gun legislation. Andrea has the details.
So-called red flag gun control bills are definitely picking up momentum at this time, even among Republicans in Congress. If this measure is signed into law, it would be the most significant gun control legislation enacted in 20 years. Maity, now back to you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. There was a Twitter battle between two Democratic tech. After 4 mass shootings in 1 week, a lot of people are asking what can be done to stop this from happening again. Let's go now with Catherine Schweid. She's the former head of the FBI's active shooter program, and she's also a law school instructor and former prosecutor. Puerto Rico Supreme Court has overturned the swearing-in of Pedro Pierluisi as the island's governor less than a week ago. Pierluisi was, and there is much more news still ahead. Welcome back to Unews and Maity Interiano. A photo of an arrest in a Texas city went viral and sparked outrage nationwide. The arrest itself wasn't the cause of much of the anger. Rather, it was the visual, the symbolism of how the arrested man was paraded through the streets under the watch of 2 white officers. Eileen Cardet explains. Officials, the 2 officers involved in this arrest will not face department discipline. A Louisiana judge has ordered the city of Baton Rouge to turn over a psychological evaluation used in the hiring of a former police officer. Coming up next, the search for a shoebox. You might want to actually sit down for this story. How do you accidentally toss out over $20,000? Well, one man in Oregon did, and it went straight into the recycling bin. Maity Murungi tells us what happened. Coming up next, more than 2 million. Former Peruvian President Alejandro Toledo is in court in San Francisco today. He was arrested on July. We have much more. Stay tuned as we have important new concerns today about the bowls being used at Chipotle and another fast food casual restaurants. Reports. Up next, Mexican director Guillermo del Toro now has a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame. At 54 years old, Del Toro is considered one of the top filmmakers in the industry. While celebrating the honor, Del Toro took the opportunity to share his heritage and push back against recent immigration rhetoric. Here's Media Marias with the story.
After the ceremony in Hollywood ended, Del Toro posed with the star and the Mexican flag, which he held tightly and kissed as the crowd cheered. It was a beautiful moment to see.
Yes, everyone, Mexican or not, we enjoyed this very much. Del Toro, by the way, is one of the many voices who for years has been speaking about immigration, about immigrants around the country, and I think this moment came perfectly, especially after such a moved week and so many news going on.
Yes, it's been a topic that we've been covering, deeply these past few days. And, it's not the first time that he talks about immigration, but, we constantly see him with positive words for this community. So,
and that's
good for him.
very important. Congratulations, felicidades, Guillermo. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Maity Interiano in for Carolina Sarasa. But we'll see you tomorrow. Hasta mañana. Hasta pronto. Thank you.